Bafana Bafana's chances of qualifying for the 2026 FIFA World Cup have become slimmer and more complicated. That's after they were held to a goalless draw by a 10-man Zimbabwe in their penultimate qualifier in Durban. Benin beat Rwanda 1-0 in another Group C qualifier in Kigali. And they now sit top of the group with 17 points, while Bafana Bafana are second with 15 points. We'll show you those logs in those tables shortly. Bafana Bafana will have to beat Rwanda on Tuesday and then hope that Nigeria beats or draws with Benin for them to qualify for the global showpiece. So for more on this, we are joined by football legend Marks Maponyane. Marks, if I look at some of the comments on social media, and every armchair coach and armchair critic, it is wild out there in those X streets. But I just want to go back to your career and the fact that you made your debut for Bafana Bafana against Zimbabwe. And I think it was your first goal that was actually scored was also against Zimbabwe. You've spoken about how this game has evolved tactically. And if there's anyone that knows the rivalry between South Africa and Zimbabwe and how it's evolved over the years, it would be you. So based on that, what did you make about Bafana Bafana's performance?
Yeah, let me just start by saying good morning to all the viewers and talk about the performance of Zimbabwe. It surprised me in the sense that they had nothing to lose but just pride to salvage. Yeah. And didn't they just do that? I mean, 10 men Zimbabwe got us to struggle. I mean, they got a man sent off on the 62nd minute, and we struggled throughout until we even lost a man, a minute remaining, even seconds remaining. But they were just putting everything into the game, and we just couldn't find the net. Give it to Bafana that they did try, and try as they might, just didn't kiss the back of the net. But it was just a gallant performance by the Zimbabweans.
Marks, do you not think that it is cause for concern that it wasn't just a 10-man Zimbabwe, it was a 10-man Zimbabwe for about half an hour and we weren't able to capitalize on that?
That is obviously a concern, because I think also where we made a mistake was when we loaded the right-hand side, where we had now Morena and Mutau, but then losing out on the left-hand side where Nkota was playing. But that being said, the biggest problem was that we just tried to, desperation at some point. I mean, with the last 7 minutes, we were shooting from everywhere. And shooting from everywhere will never get you goals. Play the balls in the box, and then you could end up maybe with a penalty or a deflection. But we didn't seem to have a strategy when we were desperate. So when you're desperate, that's when we should have been calmer.
So what do you think it was? Because many people were obviously criticizing Hugo's selections. They were asking, why Lyle? Why not Grobler? Especially given Reyners' injury. You now mentioned that there was just this desperation. Was it meant for him and his team to say, guys, settle down? Is it an immaturity? What are your thoughts regarding those strategies and tactics? Because what Zimbabwe employed worked for them from beginning to end.
Yeah, I think it was just lack of sort of experience of such moments, because we've never been in such a situation. We've always been cruising. We've always been in this false belief that we're going to work it out. But we could have worked it out from the onset to know that 3 times 10 will be 30 and we need 30 points. And then we didn't do maths, and then we had to come up with different sort of tactics. But those tactics were obviously overloaded by desperation and and expectation from the nation. And, the sad part is that we just didn't get that early goal, which we have been always getting. And that was frustrating everybody.
Okay, so everyone is obviously, the minute we lost, they go back to the frustration of us feeling an ineligible to Boho when we shouldn't have, and asking who is going to take responsibility for that. But we can't afford to do that. We have to look forward to the game on Tuesday against Rwanda. And our hopes are resting on what happens with Nigeria and Benin. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's very, very complicated. Nigeria have to beat Benin and by 3 goals or more, but then still we have to win against Rwanda, which can end up being a draw. And we also have to, it's also many have to, and calculators are out, but also wishes. Wishes are out there. And that is the sad part. And you look at it. By the way, I just woke up to calculate and say, so we have to wait for the next 4 years. That's very interesting. 2030. If we just can't get it right on Tuesday.
And obviously, first place in our group goes through automatically. There will still be technically some other chances. So what do Bafana Bafana do if they don't manage to get what they need come Tuesday and to be the automatic qualifiers?
Yeah, because of those best third spot, the biggest problem will now be what about others? Because others are in the same desperate situation. I mean, the only countries that are not in this problem are all North African countries. Can you believe it? They've all qualified. But we just couldn't work it out. The Western, the Central, and the Southern are just battling to work it out. So we're not the only ones whose results can be good, can go through. We still have others who are saying, if we can win this one, we can now be on 19, we can be on 18, and then it boils down to goal difference. So there's a lot of limitations and the ifs and the why not, kind of, On Tuesday night will be the night that will be a desperate night, I must say.
And I hope, Marks, that, as you mentioned earlier on, that desperation won't result in scattered play. It will result in them actually coming together, playing as a unit and as a team as well. Thank you so much for chatting to us, a legend in our football circles, and it's so good to have your insights on the show on Morning Live as well. Marks Maponyane just sharing, there's so many permutations at hand. He believed that Bafana Bafana, weren't as solidified as a team as they should have been. They played with a little bit of desperation, and now the desperation has increased. If you agree, let us know on our X.com account as well.